so much soul. About to bust out the room. All different flavors, way more than 32. From these shoes, you can't mess with these dudes. Nike Reeboks, about soccer knees. Golden Gooses on dudes, it's crazy. Converse the lamb made like easy.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Soul Brother, hosted by yours truly, Flex Luther. And today, guys, we are blessed with a guest. What's up? What's new? And how you feeling, my guy?
What up, though? From Detroit.
I like it. So this is your first time here, man. Let the people know, who you are and a little something about yourself.
Yeah, I go by Jumpman Bostic. I'm from the Detroit area. Jordan collector since 1985. I go by Jumpman Bostic on my social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, all the new social media that's out as well. Just been collecting since, for 40 plus years.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. We definitely going to touch on that and get into that. But before we do that, what pair did you have on today?
Well, in the house, my wife don't allow shoes in the house. So I'm wearing some slides, but today I broke out the Ivory Craft 3s. I broke them out.
I like it, man. That's one of those general releases that's a nice little smooth pickup. What I went with today was another classic. He got game 13.
Oh, yeah. Can't go wrong with them.
One of my favorites. Can't go wrong with these. My first pair, he got game 13s. I actually won in a card game with no insoles, and they were later on stolen from me. But here we are with another pair. Again, not too much that needs to be said. He got game 13s. Love the story.
Classics.
Love the shoe.
Yep. Yeah.
For sure. As you said, man, you've been collecting for over 40 years, man. Like, just give us a little insight on that. Like, what's the most memorable thing, or what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of your collecting career over the past 40 plus years?
Yeah, I was 23 when it all started. I was in college. I was in college the same time MJ was. Of course, he left early, went to the NBA, right? And then I saw the Chicago ones because back then all you saw was just white colored shoes, no color in them, except the Celtics wore green. They were allowed to wear green. Just think about this. They were allowed to wear a green shoe, but Mike couldn't wear the black and red shoes because they're saying that wasn't with the uniform conformity and stuff like that. But to make a long story short, when I saw the Chicagos, I had to have them, but we were an Adidas school. So I had to wait till the season was over to wear them or sneak to wear them when I wasn't in practice and stuff like that. But the Chicago ones is what did it for me. And I just happened to go on from there to have what I have now.
I like it, man. I like it. So and as you talk about, collecting for that long, what's something about that era and sneakers that you feel people misunderstand today?
That shoes sat on shelves. Everything didn't sell out. It was pre-internet where you had to physically go and hunt for stuff. And, you could call a store because there were phones then, but they're like, first come, first serve. You get here, they're yours. If somebody beat you, they're gone. And I love that, where, I would drive from Detroit to Chicago sometimes to pick up shoes because it wasn't the internet where you could order them and they ship them to you and stuff like that. It wasn't happening back then in the 80s, early 90s. So those are the things that I miss, was that you had to do your own research and hunting for shoes. Now all you gotta do is go on a computer and you see them on there. You just pay, and they ship to you.
Yeah. Do you feel like you had more the chase of hunting down that pair? Do you feel like it was more rewarding back then? Having to do all that to get the pair?
Absolutely. Without being able to post on social media, there was no social media then. It was just you driving home and they in the seat next to you and you just smiling. because you
Mhm.
you 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 conquered what you were set out to do, and now you can still
Mhm.
do that per se. You can call a store and say Toledo, Ohio, or
Mhm.
whatever, and drive and get them. That's close to me. I've done that, and I've driven down there to get the shoe, and they've had it. But it's very rare nowadays because of the online. People
Mhm.
are able to swoop that up before you can even make a phone call.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about, today's time. Um as you watch the love around Jordans and how it starts to see the hype, continue to grow, when did you realize that, like, okay, these are more than basketball shoes?
After they finally beat the Pistons in 91, from 85 to 90, I was buying the shoes. I was
Mhm.
still playing. I was playing semi-pro in Mexico. I was still wearing the shoes and everything. But after they finally broke through and won their first title in 91, you started to see a bigger shift. They were already selling, but it was a bigger shift
Mhm.
to get the shoes. And back in the day, it was only two releases. It was a regular season and a playoff. So it was two shoes per year. And now you look at it, it's a shoe every weekend, three or four shoes every weekend. It's kind of watered down
Mhm.
now, but I like the fact that it's giving people an opportunity to get shoes they may have missed, lost, or stolen, whatever the case may be, such as the Myro Sevens coming back, right? I wasn't able to get those when they
For
first came out because
sure.
they were super, super limited and the resale was through the roof. And I just don't pay those prices. So I'm hoping to be able to get those the second time around. That's what I love about it, the return of classics.
Yeah, man, that's crazy to think that we were only getting two pairs um per month, and now I feel like we get more releases than days in the month. I
Yeah.
mean, you have two or three releases on the same day, and three of them can be from Jordan and four of them from Nike, and then you got all the other brands. It's hard to imagine, only two Jordan releases throughout the year. Did that make the shoes like more like? I know we kind of throw the word around grill a lot. But since you were only getting these two times a month, and we really went in the era of retroing, the pairs. It was the first time they're coming out. Did these
Mhm.
seem more like Grail pairs?
Yeah. It was more nostalgic then to me because you were getting a
Mm-hmm.
regular season pair and you were getting a playoff pair. So two a year from like 86 to when they started doing the retro shoes. Um, the retro started coming, but then the regular shoes that he was wearing during that time, it was only still two a year. Then they started doing the All Star shoes, which was really cool, and it bumped it up to three. And sometimes the All Star shoe was the playoff shoe, you know. So
Mm.
I would watch in the beginning of the season to see what he was wearing. Then that shoe would come out September-ish. And then you would see in January-ish, that would be the playoff or AKA the all-star shoe. So you were just tuned in to see what was coming. And all you had was commercials on TV, to see what was coming out. And that was real exciting. And
Mm-hmm.
then you looking for the cameraman during the games to show the sneakers. And back in the 80s and early 90s, they wasn't doing it. Now the cameraman, first thing they do is show the players' shoes, right? Because they know shoes are popular now. But back in the day, they didn't really do that. You had to
Mm-hmm.
really focus in, pause your VCR. Some people don't even know what a VCR is. Pause your VCR and
That's crazy.
try to get a good look at the shoe to see what was coming out. That was an era that could never be repeated because to me, the internet took away a lot of the love and the hunting and the searching and the seeking of shoes that you wanted. That's just my opinion of it. The internet it helps and then it hurts in the same breath.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I mean, just listen to you tell what you had to do, like pausing the TV or pausing the VCR. I mean, because at that point you really couldn't pause the TV. That just that's a crazy time, man.
Yeah.
What was one of your most memorable like commercials for like what pair?
Oh wow. The one of the ones that really stick in my mind, it was down the way to 11s when he was in the warehouse and he was run like he was on a runway.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ran and he dunked and he was looking down the ball field. He's up on the hoop and is way up in the air. And I actually went to that building for the All-Star game in Chicago a few years back
Mm-hmm.
and actually saw where they shot that commercial. But there's a lot of commercials for the shoes. Just the one commercial with the black and red. I call them the black and reds. People
Mm-hmm.
use the other word. To me, back in the day, they were called by the color of the shoe, not by these names that were made up. So I remember that commercial when he was dribbling the ball and they panned down
Mm-hmm.
to the shoes. Had to have them when I saw that, man. Had to. And I was in Adidas school, and that's the first time I was able to buy my own shoes for $65. That was the most expensive basketball shoe back in '80, which was crazy.
65.
65 was the most
$65.
expensive. Was the most expensive shoe out.
And now in today's time, we're looking at the Space Jam 11s retailing for $255. At least
Crazy.
that's the rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's 200. That's $190 more
Yeah.
now.
And
So that's
they were
that's
125 when they first came out, and now they up to 255. And they just released a few years ago. It's like they're starting to come back with shoes too quickly. They're not letting the ones that came out
hmm
marinate per se. They just keep coming back with the
hmm
classics because they know that's what the people want. They keep feeding us the retooling. We're making them more like the OGs. No, they're not. No, they're not. To be honest, no, they're not. They they have all of the resources. I have the OGs. If they really want to get
hmm
back to the OG tooling, if they don't have them in the archive, there's collectors that have them.
hmm
And you can ask to borrow their shoe or whatever and get it right. Some they get right, but most
hmm
they drop the ball on. I'm just being real. It's night and day, and that's why I still like doing my videos because I can show the OGs and I can show the retros. You can see the OGs cannot be
hmm
duplicated. I just feel they can't be replicated because they were on a different level.
Yeah, nah, for sure. So what is that feeling like? Because I mean, we see it all the time. I mean, we went through the remastered series, the reimagined series,
Yeah,
and it's always
yeah.
kind of like we're bringing back the OGs or we better tooling. Like, so what is it like to get that pair? And because you were there for the OGs, what is it like to be like, okay, this is not. So what? How can you describe that feeling of getting that pair that's supposed to be closest to the OG, and then you have the OG in your hand?
State of Union, LA. They have different materials, right? I have the Union LAs mixed
Mm-hmm.
with um um what is that with the gray and the Chicago, and those are close to the OGs,
I
right?
think
But it's
I think it's
not the real.
yeah.
It's not the real Chicago though. You know what I'm saying? If they made
Mm-hmm.
it the real Chicago, it would be close to the OG. They do it better with the collab shoes than they do with the original releases. It takes a collab shoe for them to
Mm.
really dig deep and start doing the materials, the cuts, the shapes, the way that the OGs were, in my opinion.
And how do you feel the far as like comfort level has changed? Like, was the comfort better back then, or the comfort level better now?
See, back then they were basketball shoes. They were released as basketball shoes. To me, They're just what I call kick it shoes now, where you just walk around profile style or whatever you want to do with them. They're not really performance shoes. The performance shoes are the Jordan
Mm-hmm.
27s and above to the current coming out with the 41 soon. Those are basketball
Mm-hmm.
shoes. And these right here are super underrated, the 40s, right? Comfortable shoe
Yeah.
and a hella basketball shoe. You can wear these all day, and you can hoop in them. But the retro shoes that are coming out now, I would not hoop in. These are not true basketball shoes to go out and play a full game. And I see some players in the NBA wearing them and all of that, but I think they have a modified version on. I don't think they have that release that we get.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Those are not true basketball shoes because think about the materials are subpar, the comfort is
Mm-hmm.
subpar. The Zoom Air, the full length Air, all that stuff is it's not like it used to be. It's not a comfortable basketball shoe. And some people complain it's not a comfortable walk around shoe. So how could it be a comfortable basketball shoe? That's just my opinion though
Yeah.
on wearing them. I can wear them and it's not as comfortable as the original, but they don't kill me either.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely wouldn't play basketball.
As we talked about earlier, two pairs being released. Do you feel like now, since there's so many pairs releasing throughout the year, throughout the month, that we're more focused on what's next rather than kind of enjoying the actual release that that even if it's like the shoe that we've seen and we've loved and like, okay, this is releasing again, kind of like with the True Blue threes. I feel like there's so many shoes that are followed by or followed up with the True Blue threes that, like, I don't think we're really gonna get chance to enjoy this release. So do you feel like we're too focused on what's next?
I think most people are focused on being selective on what they're getting, and because they're seeing a lot of shoes
Mm,
are sitting and going on sale. Like me, I had two kids in college, so I'm very selective. Most people think I have everything that comes out. I don't go for everything that comes out. I'll sit back and wait for a shoe to go on sale. Now I don't have to have them when they first come out. Like some people this is the first view of this shoe. I don't have to be that person. I can wait. I've waited years to get shoes, to be honest, until it was in my price range. With the resale has gone down because resellers aren't what they used to be now. To be honest, they not
yeah.
making that that killing and cracking people on the head for stuff now because people aren't buying shoes like that now. But it I think most people are selective. And from the people I talk to, the True Blue threes that are like the Knicks threes or whatever now, they just changing the name to keep the shoes hot or coming. But we just got those. But yeah, they changed it to make it look like the side panels and the cut and all that, saying, "Oh, this is like the OG cut."
Mm-hmm.
And just to keep people's minds on, I gotta have these because this is going back to '88. I need these. I gotta have these. I don't feel that way. I don't have to have them, because I have two pair already. So if they go on
Mm-hmm.
sale and they're in my range, I'll get.
And I like that. I mean, that's definitely how um what I like to call dry spells. I've been collecting since '09, and I feel like
Mhm.
every now and then we see like a dry spell within sneakers. And then that's when I do all my buying. I don't really buy a lot when like everything's hyped up and
Right.
everything's, selling out. Those are the times where I'm kind of chilling, laying back and, stacking up paper or whatever. But when it's times like this, like right now, oh yeah, these are the moments where I'm like, oh yeah, let me get those, let me get those, let me put a bid in for these, because
Yeah.
now you're able to get two or three pairs for the price of one. I mean,
That's
like we
smart, man.
spoke before, you
Yes.
got the Space Jam
Yes.
11. Space Jam 11, you get 255. So, like I
Yeah.
just got the Shatter Bad Boys and the Cough Drop Phone Posits for both of them for like
Hmm.
under $200. at most
Yeah.
230. And
Hmm.
phone pods is retail at I
Two.
think 230 to 245,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
so yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean
See.
that's when I do my buy.
Yep. And they try to tie us in what they gonna do to Stitch 23 on the back. They gonna make it like the movie. They always bring something to get people hyped about it and then hit you 255.
Mm-hmm.
That's raising the
255.
stakes. That's that's raising the stakes. So it's gonna be like
For sure. 255
265,
is
270 by the time you hit the tax, you know. Like, man.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I'm just real selective now, to be honest.
yeah, no, man, I 100% agree with that. What Jordan story do you feel needs to be told more?
That his giving, his supporting, but although he doesn't put his information out there, right? What he does, like the
Mm-hmm.
hospitals, the schools, and the things that he does to help the community. I just think that a lot of negativity comes out about him about not signing autographs, not being in the
Mm-hmm.
community, not being around the NBA and stuff like that. I just think that most people have a negative view of him because of some people's opinions of what he's done or not done, and videos that have showed it popped up of him just walking past people and not signing autographs, where he has a stipulation where he cannot sign autographs. And he know in
Mm-hmm.
his mind, if he signs something, somebody gonna go right and try to sell it. So I
Yeah.
don't really blame him for that. I if he came to visit here, I wouldn't even ask for an autograph. I would just want him to see it. What do you think? Do you remember these? I would just
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
have a conversation. Like when Wilson Smith came, I don't know if you saw that. Wilson Smith from Nike came to
Yeah,
my
I seen
house.
that.
And man, this guy, he was so excited. All we talked about was team shoes because that's mainly what he worked on. He worked on and he signed
Mm-hmm.
some of my sneakers, and I was super excited for that. But I was more excited when he said that he's seen shoes down here that he hadn't seen since he designed them. Nike didn't even have them in the archives. And they
Wow.
borrowed shoes from me when they opened up the wing for him down here in Detroit. They opened up part of a museum for him here, and he borrowed some of my shoes to show that. And that's how I got connected with him. But that's crazy that they don't have certain shoes in their archives. And he saw some stuff, and it was just really cool for him to come. And Toussaint King is a guy I met when I was out at Nike. They invited me out. I met him, and we've been in touch ever since. And he facilitated all of that, man. That was so cool. And I didn't even know Wilson was coming. And he just kind of surprised me. And it was just off the cuff that we had conversations like that. And those are the best conversations when, you don't know that they're gonna happen. They're just organic.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure. So what is that feeling like, man? Because I feel like when you're collecting and you're buying these sneakers, of course you know the stories, you know the designers, you know the brand behind it. But to ever think like, oh yeah, one day I meet the designer. Oh yeah, one day I meet the team behind making this shoe. Like, what is that like? What is that like? That being your reality that you did meet the designer behind the shoe.
I couldn't believe it. And for him to say that he knew who I was, I just feel like I'm just a
Yo.
regular collector. I'm just a regular,
Hmm.
everyday person that had 2 or 3 jobs to support my love for sneakers. And then you get a lot of hate. I don't know if you do. Why you got so many? You don't need that many. You only got 2 feet. That's a waste of money. It's this, it's that. But there's people out there smoking crack, buying cigarettes, buying liquor. I don't do none of that. I buy sneakers.
Hmm.
So you're doing this.
Hmm.
I'm buying sneakers, but it's bad. You know, I don't judge anybody on what they do, but some people are just come on your platforms and just be negative minded. And I try not to even feed into that. I hit that block and keep it moving. But is to have met him really, really made my love for sneakers that much more. You know, that I have some things in my collection that he designed that he hadn't seen since he designed them. That's crazy. That was just crazy for him
Yeah.
for me to hear that and for him to say that and him be excited about a shoe like this when he signed for me. This is one of my favorite Team J's, and it's called the Team J.
Hmm.
And it was just an overwhelming feeling for him to walk through here and see a lot of the stuff that I have and knew other designers that design certain shoes. He was just calling out stuff,
Hmm.
and that was really cool.
Have you before this point? Because like now you talk about like the pair not being not him not seeing the pair since he designed it. Have you before now felt like you were kind of preserving the history?
I think my collection is history, because I don't just
Mm.
have the numbered J's. I have the Team J's, Roy Jones Jr. boxing shoes. I have the golf shoes. I have the Randy Moss football shoes. I have PEs from actual players, Rip Hamilton, Ray Allen, Eddie Jones, just to name a few. Um, Russell Westbrook. I have a little bit of everything. The fusions. I don't know if you were around that fusion era
Mm.
where people just either you loved them or you hated them. I have about 50 pair of fusions.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the fusions. I love them. And I still feel, and I'm gonna say this on your podcast, they're coming back. I think they're gonna come back because those are the two best brands, Air Force Ones and Jordans, to ever come together. I, I think that was the best
Hmm.
collab ever. But a lot of people think opposite of that.
I feel like the fusions is one of those things like even if you don't like them, you just kind of just have that love for them because of like you said, it's Jordan, it's an Air Force One, like just the history behind those two, brands and they're coming together. Like, what can you say about an Air Force One and a Taxi 12 coming together? Like, it just it sounds right. It feels right. No matter what it looks
Yeah.
like, it's just like and I'm still currently looking for that Taxi 12 Air Force One at a decent price, of course. I mean, cuz it
Hmm.
has aged over a while. It has aged and I want like a brand new pair. But of course, with brand new pair, you gotta know how people stored that pair and
That's
like,
the
is it
key.
gonna be
Yeah.
wearable when you get it? Yeah, so I'm trying to find a pair that looks decent, and I take pride in how I store my shoes. So I have like
Hmm.
I got a whole split unit in my house that's dedicated to my shoes, and so
Especially
I
where
be
you
looking
are.
at shoes to
Yeah.
see if I can see the signs of like yeah,
Yeah.
especially here because it gets real humid
Yeah.
here in
Yeah.
North Carolina and just down here in the South in general. So
Hmm.
like I gotta throughout the whole entire year I'm keeping the AC on. I
Hmm.
learned early just what the term keeping it on ice is not just a term. Keeping it on ice, keeping it cold is one of the things that you want to do. It helps, keeps it from sweating and stuff like that. I pay attention to stuff like that when I'm looking for a pair just to see the signs. So as we go to like a different avenue of the sneaker conversation, what we talk about social media and what it's like being on social media within the sneaker space. What are some of the conversations you feel the sneaker community should be having?
More on connecting and building together. More questions about sneakers in general. I get a lot of questions, a lot of DMs.
Hmm.
I can't even get to all of them. Like, do you have this shoe? Do you have that shoe? And when I do and I show it to them, they get excited. Say, I had that as a kid. I hadn't seen that since I was a kid. I knew you would have it and things like that. I get excited about those things, but I think that there's so much with competition. I have this and you don't,
Mm.
you know, type of scenarios. And it's not like a lot of people helping one another. I'm fortunate enough to have people helped me. One guy came from Texas last week with his wife. She was visiting Detroit, and he asked could he come by, and he came by, and he helped me get the black cement threes, and he helped me get the the fours, which undefeated
Hmm.
fours, which I had missed the first time out. Right, his name is Dallas Tex,
Yeah.
and he came
Hmm.
through, man, and I get excited about those things where people want to actually meet me in person. I met him online and we exchanged addresses, and I don't really do that with everybody because I don't let everybody
For
come to
sure.
my home because this is, this is where my collection is until I can get this museum, which is what I want to do up and going. But it's just connecting with real life sneaker people like yourself, having
Hmm.
conversations about sneakers, showcasing certain sneakers, not like I have this and you don't, just showing what you have, you know, um, and coming together like that and for the love of sneakers, not for the I have this and you don't have that. That's what I like about the sneaker.
I like it. How does it feel, having those people that want to come by and look at your collection, just kind of admire, what you have and just like, hey, I just want to see it. I just want to see what,
Yeah,
the collection that, you showcase. What does that feel like?
yeah. I mean, it's overwhelming to have the support that I have. And most people are respectful, saying, man, I know that's your private home, this, that, and the third. Some people can be cool and then you let them in your space and they are, they next minute they hating you or they want to tell where you live and all. So you just got to be careful. But to meet people like Dallas, who I
Hmm.
know he's a good person. I know that he ain't gonna do nothing like that. You just have a feeling about people. And that's why I want to do the museum where I can move all of this out and put it where people can come and see it. Because I know people want to see certain shoes other than the numbered shoes. They want to see some of the stuff that was out when they were kids, that their parents bought them.
Hmm.
And a lot of people don't buy those shoes anymore because they're called Mexican Jordans. They're not real Jordans. They're this, they're that. But back in the day, Team Jordans sold just as much as numbered Jordans. Yeah, they
Wow.
did. That's fact. That's fact. Because Ray Allen, Eddie Jones, all them
Hmm.
guys wore Team Jordan and they sold. I'm telling you, they sold big time.
So how do you keep yourself from kind of getting frustrated with the current environment within sneakers, because I mean a lot of things that that you've seen be hot or was a good thing are
Yeah.
now kind of viewed as like, oh yeah, nah, we don't like that ain't cool, or that ain't real Jordans. How do you keep yourself calm and cool, like, and continue to showcase what you have? Because of course, I know you've got comments like, "Oh man, those team Jordans, them ain't real Jordans. Why you got them in your collection?"
Yep. Yep. I get that all the time, especially with the fusions, the shoes I just showed you, the
Mhm.
Team J. But I just put the
Mhm.
story with them. I put the athletes with them.
Mm.
I put who wore them, and then you get a a, a sense of who you're talking to by their age. It's like you weren't around then. You don't
Mhm.
know about those. You going by what other people say. So it's just educating them in an appropriate way and not going off on them. You know what I mean? It's no sense in me
Yeah.
defending something that they don't like. They don't have to like it. But if you take the time to listen to the stories about it and do some history, because Google is free, you'll see that those shoes were very popular.
I know you go through a lot of questions. A lot of people ask you questions. You spoke about it, but what's one question that you wish people asked that they never asked?
Why is it one brand for you? Why when I first started, it's just strictly Jordans. I've gotten
Mm-hmm.
some Air Force Ones, I've gotten some pennies and stuff like that. Most people don't ask why it was strictly Jordan for me.
So let's ask you, why was it strictly Jordan for you?
We were both in college at the same time, with the same age. And what's crazy
Mm-hmm.
is I'm 2 days older than him. He was born February 17th. I was born February 15th. Same year, 63. Right. So we were in college together. I was at the University of San Diego. Of course, he was at North Carolina. So me and my roommate would run home and watch the North Carolina games on TV and stuff like that. So he leaves early, goes to the NBA. I admired his college game, because
Mm-hmm.
of his accomplishments. Then he got to the NBA and started doing the same thing. Then I saw the shoes. So the shoes drew me in, the Chicago ones. I still got my original pair from
Mm-hmm.
85. I wear them January 1st of every year, and they're still wearable from 85. Still wearable. So it was the color that attracted me to the
Mm-hmm.
shoes, because you just mainly saw just all white shoes back in the day. So that was the main thing. And then his style of play. And that turned into this.
I like it, man. So I noticed you have on your page exactly, how many pairs of shoes, and you're well over 1,500. Do you ever
Yeah.
feel like you're gonna get to a point and say like, all right, I'm done?
No. Long as I'm 10 toes up, I'm buying shoes. Because people say, well, another question I would like to answer on your podcast. What you gonna do when you die?
Mhm.
What you gonna do when you die? Yeah, you dead. I'm going to enjoy whatever I got while I'm here. I don't know what's going to happen to it. I tell my
Yeah,
kids about
yeah.
it. I got the rookie cards. I got 2
Mhm.
rookie cards, one for each of them. And
Mhm.
those are already up
That's
there.
dope.
So long as you sell those, you'll be good. If you sell certain
Yeah.
whatever you want to do, I'll be dead. That's it. I'm going to live. I'm going to enjoy what I got while I'm living. When I'm dead, I'm gone. I'll never know. That's such a stupid question, but people ask it.
Mhm. Mhm.
What's going to happen when you die? I,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't understand that question.
Like that.
That's one question. That's one question that irritates me. I swear it does. I mean, you're dead.
Yeah. I think at the point of view, you being dead, like I think you have more things. I mean, bigger things to be worried about rather than what's going on with those shoes.
Yeah. Well, you
I
can
mean, that
send me
would.
some. I'm gonna
I,
send you some. I'm dead. I mean, God dang, come on. Some people just, I don't know. They just don't think before they talk, man. It's
hey man, it's the world we live in. I feel like my thing is that you only have 2 feet. I haven't looked down and you're like, oh, I have 1, 2. Oh, okay.
hmm
Didn't know that. Thanks for
hmm
telling me.
hmm
I always hate that comment of you
Yeah.
only got 2 feet.
Yeah. And another reason
One life
why,
and
yes. And another reason why I have so many, a lot of people don't know
hmm
this. I had 2 siblings, brothers. It was 6 of us. I was the last of 6. I had 3 older sisters, 2 older brothers. So I got teased a
hmm
lot because of what? I had to wear their hand-me-down. I'm from the 60s and the
hmm
70s where you wore your brother's clothes when they got too small for
hmm
them. And I was the last one. So I had 2 older brothers who had to wear their stuff 2 years in a row. So a lot of stuff wasn't mine first. It was like
hmm
hand-me-down. So I would wear their shoes that got too small for them because I was third in line. So maybe part of me is like, man,
hmm
shit, I ain't wearing nobody else's nothing. I can go down here and change 1,500 times in one day if I want to, So it might be a little bit of that too, but I just love sneakers. And, I know why I bought each pair. I know what attracted me to each pair that I have. It's a story for each pair that I have. And that's what I love about the sneaker community and connecting with real sneaker people because they can tell you why they wanted that particular shoe. And those are the
hmm
conversations
Yeah,
sneaker people should be having. Not I got this and you don't, or that's beat up, or that's this. Don't nobody want that. And they wanted it. I wanted a certain shoe because it was it drew my attention and I know why I bought it. People should focus more on that to me.
yeah, for sure. I always tell people, shout out to my guy Jay. I had him on the pod, and we were talking about how sneakers were just more than sneakers, with stories. The story behind every pair.
Yes.
I feel like your collection is a representation of who you are, and where you come from. Like your region, all that. Because there's certain shoes or certain Jordans that were big during this time, big in this city, but not big in that city. So I feel like once you really look close at someone's sneaker collection, it tells a story about them. It just
Hmm.
I always say that this is. Anytime I show my shoes off, it's always a statement of success. I was able, and God blessed me to where I can provide for my family, but also buy shoes and buy sneakers and continue to have a large collection like this and still, maintain a good lifestyle. So I always,
Yes.
I always say it's more than sneakers. It's way more than sneakers.
Yeah.
It's not just,
Yes.
it's not just rubber and what it could say, rubber and I forgot, rubber and glue. I can't remember how they say it,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
it's it's way it's way
Rubber and
more than
leather,
that. Um,
leather and rubber. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So 20 years from now, we're looking back at your collection. We're talking about just your collection. What is the first thing you want people to remember about your collection and the impact and the legacy behind it?
That I was passionate about the brand, that it wasn't just the number J's, it was the sneakers in general. Um, the the love of the different models, colors, styles that all made up of Jordan brand sneakers. That I put all of my effort into one brand that I felt gave me everything I needed. They have boots, like I said, they have boots. Uh, they have trunners, casual shoes, basketball shoes, team shoes, slides. They have everything that I feel I need in one brand. Not that I dislike other brands. This just does it for me. This
Hmm.
is what I've chosen to do.
And now let's look past the collection. When it comes to the
Mhm.
individual, the person behind the collection, what legacy do you want to leave behind when your name is spoken? What do you want your name to represent?
That I was a good person, that I treated people the way I wanted to be treated, and that I was a positive person in the sneaker community, that I
Hmm.
was willing to help people, which I have helped people get shoes, as well as people has helped me get shoes. I was just a sneaker person's person, if that makes sense.
I like it, man. I know I've seen creators that I've watched, growing up and kind of, they always say don't meet your heroes. And I see, like, let's say Nice Kick post someone that doesn't have a large collection, that doesn't really have that clout behind them. I can see those same creators kind of come in under like, oh man, I got those, or oh, you think that's nice. I got 30 of those. I got 40 times that.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate, the like yourself, that has these large collections, that has this large following, that still embrace, people that are, showing their collections off, that are,
Hmm.
getting, some shine or get some exposure because hey, they got the full OG set of Air Jordans and they got them in good condition. So I appreciate, the collectors that's been around a long time, that has that clout, but also still embrace the newcomers like myself. Um, I really didn't hop onto social media and like really start creating content to like around 2020, but I've been in love and collecting sneakers since '09. So there's a lot of things
Mhm.
that I get online and I find out. I'm like, oh, I didn't know about. It's not because it's not like about knowing your history. It's more about like I wasn't around that time. Like I can't
Yeah.
tell you what was
Yeah.
going on in 86, 87 because I wasn't around. I wasn't in my existence would even here. So like it's
Mhm.
always nice to hear, someone like yourself that's been collecting since 85 talk about what it's like and being able to see the differences because I feel like that sometimes get lost in translation. We're always just kind of we're focused on so many other things rather than the truth, the reality of things. I feel like we try to rewrite the history that's already been there.
Yep. True.
But as we close out the episode, what showcase should you have for us?
Oh boy, it's gonna have to be my all-time favorite. Um, I am a big lover of the playoff eight.
Mm.
This actual OG you see is a little beat up.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my that the eights are my favorites in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two of those, and then this is the most recent one where they finally came back with the red pull tab because all of the others that preceded this had the black pull tab.
Mm-hmm.
So I had been talking about that for
Mm.
years, as well as some other people, and they finally came back with the red pull tab with the OG tooling and all of that. But the playoff eights with the click and the clack of the straps, you never strap the straps. That's me. Never strap the straps. And
I
that's
like
my
it. I
favorite
like
shoe,
it.
man. That is my all-time
Like
favorite. I'm looking forward to the Ben 8s. I need those. I need
yeah, the
those.
Ben Nates are those are very very nice. So where is your love behind the retro eight? Like, is there a story there?
That was his greatest playoffs ever. Points,
Mm.
assists, rebounds, and the fact that they gave the regular season MVP to Barkley, and Barkley was talking shit. And they played Phoenix in the finals. So Mike
Mm-hmm.
was like, you can have that trophy. I'll take the big trophy. And then they won. That was the three-peat, the first three-peat. So the eights, to me, was his
Mm-hmm.
greatest playoffs out of all the six championships. That's my
I
love
like it.
for
I
the
like it.
eights.
My showcase is a period that I feel like doesn't really get talked about a lot. And it's the retro one. David Letterman, the Letterman ones. Um,
I have those. Yes,
Something
they
about this
don't.
shoe, yeah, man. Just something about
Yeah.
this leather here and the colors. But my favorite part is the insole, man. Just having that mic on air.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that detail
That was a dope release. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
This is one of
I
those
like
pairs that I
that.
got on sale.
Mm.
So
I like that. I like that shoe. And
right,
you know what? I hadn't seen that shoe in 6, 7 years till you showed it. You never really
I
see
like it,
people
man.
showing that shoe. And that's what's
Yeah.
dope about the sneaker community. You done brought back a good memory of a classic shoe that doesn't really
Mm-hmm.
get the love that it should. Because the Letterman show was I used to stay up and watch that, you know, and that's a dope shoe, man. That's a good shoe. I like that.
Did you see the actual episode that this is inspired by the him? Like, I think
Yeah,
it's inspired by the
with
jumpsuit that he had on.
the
Yeah.
red. He had on a red
Mm-hmm.
jumps. Yep, yep. I remember that. I saw that live on TV. Yes.
That's crazy, man.
Hmm.
How does that feel? Just that moment being created into a shoe now.
Yeah, never thought it was gonna happen. You watching something live and you don't know that
Mm-hmm.
30, 20, 30 years later, a shoe was gonna come out of it. And it did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been several shoes like that, like with the tens, the jacket he was
Mm-hmm.
wearing when he put his hand down for the statue and all of that. And those are the stories they should be coming with, the factual stories, not the fictional stories. Like with the band shoe is not the black and red one, it's the airship but that's good
Mm-hmm.
storytelling. And to this day, it's still a storytelling and it's still selling the Air Jordan 1. Although everybody should know at this day and time that it was the airship that was banned, not the Jordan one.
Nah, for sure. Um, but as we close out the episode, man, I appreciate you hopping on, taking time out your day to talk sneakers and much more. Do you have any closing remarks for the people tuning in, listening, watching?
Yeah, just embrace others in the sneaker community. Show love to others in the sneaker community because you never know when you may cross paths with them again. We crossed paths. You contacted me and I saw it, and we made this happen within a week. And there's no judgment. There's no okay, how many followers he got, how this, how that. Sneaker conversations are a lost art to me. And when you can, my hope is to reestablish that with people on all levels, no matter if you're just starting out, you've been in it, you top tier or whatever. We're all in this for our love for sneakers. So if I can do anything for you, if you need my help with anything, if you need another conversation piece, I'm here. I'm locked in with you. And I appreciate you reaching out to me because, like I said, I feel I'm just a regular person. You know, a lot of people look at me as, I don't know, bigger than life sometimes, and that's real humbling. But I'm just a regular person, man. I'm not an athlete. I'm not an entertainer. This was built on hard work, working jobs,
Mm-hmm.
more
Mm-hmm.
than one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
I like
and
that, man.
and it's something I put my life into. So
For sure, man. I appreciate it. I mean, just hopping on and taking time, and that means enough. Not to make not to make you feel weird, but you've been collecting longer than I've been alive. So I mean, just off the strength of that, that blows
yeah,
my mind, especially to see the collection that I have and just to know that you're around for a lot of the original releases, the retros, the fusions, just so many eras and sneakers like you were there for. And I can only kind of look far from the distance and, take in the stories about it because I wasn't
yes,
around for it. So I'm always appreciative of, someone that was actually in that era or, that's been
Mhm.
collecting this long and still have that love for sneakers. Because I feel like people often think that like the love for sneakers just kind of dies out. So to see you still doing it, 40 years strong is, that's something to admire and respect.
I think the sneaker love for people that dies out for certain people is that they're not truly
Hmm.
into sneakers. That's my opinion. If you into it, it doesn't die.
Yeah.
And these people keep saying, I'm gonna sell my collection, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That's just for attention to me because I'm never getting out until I'm dead and gone. Never. And you won't hear me say I'm selling, I'm done, I ain't buying. I've never ever said that and never will. I'm in it to the
I
end.
like it. I like it. I like it. But guys, that's where we're gonna end it. As I always say, love, peace, and sneakers.
Retro 7s, retro 3s, metallic silver, retro 11, sitting on freeze. They got so